All right, everybody. Now you should be able to hear me. Yes, now I can see my sound showing up. I apologize. I bumped something and I unplugged something very, very carefully, plugged into the back of the board, and it jacked everything up. You should be able to hear me now. Welcome into the Jacked Ramsays postgame show. Danny Marang, Brandon Sprague. Again, the Blazers lose to the Thunder for the second time in a week, 96-93, holding the Portland Trailblazers under 100 points again. Time to start smashing those overs and bringing on those L's. We will talk about the trade a little bit. We will talk about a little bit about this game, just kind of the general idea. We'll spend a little bit more time. Number one, it's a Friday night. Number two, we will not have a pre or a post-game show tomorrow night, as I will not be here. I will be at the game. Danny Marang, Brandon Sprague. Now it's actually working. So, again, thank you all. We apologize for that. Somebody says, I actually missed Danny's voice. When it gets to that point, guys, it's time to take a break. Time to take a break.
It's a lot of content taken in with that Marang voice, man.
Ooh, doggy. All right. Let's get into the game real quick. Brandon, takeaways from the game.
Takeaways from the game. It was an awful game. It really was. A lot of bad shooting tonight. I'm not surprised, but to watch CJ jack up that many shots and be that bad from three and continue to shoot the three, I really hope he is in the works right now of being shipped. The game worked out exactly how you want, even down to the final play. For the fact that they even, by the way, lost by that amount, they shot 18% from three tonight, Danny. 18%. How many NBA teams shoot 18% from three
and win
and still have a chance to tie the game, right? So for them to be able to get to that point, I think speaks to itself of how bad Oklahoma City is. This is important for a couple of reasons. It's important because, well, you had a real good shot there. It was a great play, the hook and ladder with Nurk to Ant. It looked like he thought it was good. It was pretty damn close, but they also lost. They dropped another game to the Thunder. And for those just jumping on the stream that weren't there a second ago, I said this, this is important because you get to tanking territory. You could lose a season series against Oklahoma City, play a factor there a little bit.
You know what else plays a factor? It's time to play the game, Brandon Sprague, to play the Tankathon. Wheel spin. Every time the Blazers lose, we play the Tankathon wheel spin where we sim the lottery. Right now, the Portland Trailblazers 21-31. It is not updated yet, but we're going to do it anyways. Ready, and Brandon said he wanted to make sure we do this every time. Little DJ air horn. Sim the lottery. Let's go. Bum, 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 bum. Portland moves up to fourth. Again, moves up 5 spots. That is 2 losses in a row. Actually, 3 losses in a row, Brandon Sprague. The Portland Trailblazers have moved up in the lottery. Congratulations to the fake lottery contestants.
The fourth pick?
Listen, we like it. We like it.
I would be happy with the 4th pick.
It's a good place to be. That top 4 is a good place to be, ladies and gentlemen. I do this mostly as a joke, just to be but it also kind of show you how odds play out and how important it is to be in that top 5, 6, 7.
Mm-hmm.
You can find yourself. That's actually, the Blazers have been 8th or 9th every time I've run that, and they moved up all 3 times from 2nd to 4th and 4th in the last 3.
Damn.
So just
You've done it one time too, where they got the 1 pick.
The one time I did it, the very first time I did it on the show, they got the number 1 pick,
which was fantastic.
Interesting place to be. You know what else is an interesting place to be? Portland, for the Portland Trailblazers right now, Brandon, because they are in a weird spot where they sent out 2 very good starting caliber NBA players and did not get them back in a trade. Mm-hmm. So in the short term, it definitely affects the tank. Directly,
absolutely.
Indirectly, however you want to go about it. But the Blazers were shorthanded tonight. They started Tony Snell, who had his best game as a Portland Trailblazer, unequivocally.
And he was a -11.
He was -11, 13 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, 5 of 10 from the field, 3 of 8, hit a runner.
Yeah.
Hit a runner that was just like, okay, Tony Snell in his bag night? Okay, cool.
I couldn't tell if I was more shocked he hit a runner or the fact that he ran.
Attempted the runner? Yeah.
Yes, that's so out of what Tony Snell has been largely.
There was a lot of things going on tonight. Yusuf Nurkic, 6 of 19. CJ McCollum, 9 of 24. That is your ball game, ladies and gentlemen. When your 2 volume guys go 15 of 43?
What were they from 3? Because CJ was 1 of 9. Did Nurk shoot 1?
No. Got to the line 3 times. 14 points, 16 rebounds. You'll get a lot of rebounds in a game like this. 2 assists, 2 steals, 5 fouls. Was a +7. For me, Brandon, shockingly, the takeaway is Anthony Simons, who basically sat alongside and watched for 3.5 quarters and then decided, oh, my turn? and proceeding to
so
look like the best player on the floor.
Yeah, let me ask you about that. So I've been noticing this lately, and I think we may have mentioned this on one of our post games. Seems to kind of be his MO lately, and I don't know if what kind of goes in that. Is that dude that knows it's the end for certain guys, and he's like, hey, go out and get your shots, get your looks. Like, I'm not going to get in your way. You deserve this. Or is this a young player taking a different approach and saying, hey, how can I impact the game in a different way? He's kind of letting it flow through him. His stats aren't awful, but then the fourth quarter comes and, he tends to look like a different player. I'm more curious what you think of like just because he's had like 3 or 4 of these, I feel like, where you've been like, what's he doing? And then boom, second half comes late in the game and then he starts getting it going.
I'm leaning towards the latter in that it's been interesting. The final couple minutes of the Laker game, we saw a level of aggression was like, whoa, and driving, like not like kind of driving, like getting to a pull up or getting to a runner or getting to a floater, little hezzy and then finish gracefully. It was, I'm going to drive this ball down your throat.
Yep.
He hit Anthony Davis with a hezzy blow by and then got to the rim with aggressiveness. Then he got the other one where he, again, bodied and went up and drove through traffic. And then he had the other one where he went off 2 and yammed it. And it was like, whoa, okay. And I thought maybe it'd be nice to see that again in the game against the Thunder. And he was Lillard-esque and just kind of like pacing. I don't need to force anything. I can get something whenever I want to.
Which he's right. And also that Laker game, remember, like a lot of that stuff came with like 3 minutes left. And a lot of us on the live watch party were like, is he going to get going? Is he going to do anything?
And then he did. And then he did it again tonight. 5 minutes to go. Boom, boom, downhill, downhill, free throw line.
The Dort battles were fun. Couple Dort possessions there.
Going at him. And one of the things I looked at tonight, I was like, let's see, Ant's got 3 turnovers, 4 assists, but the level of aggression, I was like, okay. And I thought his turnovers, I think they were all passes. I don't think he got a ball poked away off the dribble. I think there was 2 errant passes that I remember clearly.
Well, one at the end with Nurk.
Yeah, he had one earlier.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He threw another lob to Nurk that went kind of like off the side, and he was like, oh, that's right, it's Nurk. I can't do that. And I think he threw another one to Watford on a cut where he got caught up. No, it was a corner. It was a corner kick out, and he should have gotten it to Watford coming out of the dunker spot and ended up getting intercepted. But nothing off the dribble, which is what I like to see. The aggressiveness going at Lou Dort, that's the takeaway for me tonight. Like the micro skills, like, okay, you got kind of put on the Dortcher rack last time. That was just a week ago, not even a week ago, 5 days ago. What have you learned? Put it to use. He learned go at his chest. I can cook him off the bounce and get my pull up whenever I want to, but he also wants me to get to kind of that spot. He doesn't want me to get by him. He doesn't want me to test him in that way. And I think that was the point where like, okay, that's interesting. That's a fun development. And those are the kind of things with Kyle Lowry out, Marcus Smart out, that was a little bit frustrating on that road trip where he didn't get those opportunities to go up against those kind of guys.
Well, and I think the NBA's long had like the old saying, it's the opposite of football. It's like great offense will always be great defense. And we know how important team defense is, but like in these moments, even though Ant's offensive game is good enough to get by just about every player in the league, if not all the players in the league, you still get guys in matchups like Lou Dort, where I think you and I and everybody else that's a Blazer fan is sitting there watching the game going, okay, this game's kind of sucked. Oklahoma City's probably winning, but Ant versus Lou Dort? Because even though Ant knows he can get that bucket, even though we know he can get that bucket, there's kind of a prove it factor in that league. And a lot of those Lou Dorts, they take those matchups really serious.
That's how they make their bread.
I mean, go think about one of the more iconic matchups we ever watched in a regular season game. Iverson against Jordan, right? Defensive player of the year. It's Michael effing Jordan. It's rookie Allen Iverson. And AI's like, I'm going to prove this. I can take you. You're MJ, but I can do this because I'm Iverson. I love those moments, man. Like, in the grand scheme of all of what this season is, like, are we going to remember all the moments? Maybe not, but they're important for growth, and I think they're important for confidence. So, like, this game largely sucked, But I think what you just said is 100% accurate. The best parts were watching Ant go against Lou Dort in 2 possessions.
Which is kind of a weird place to be.
It's a very weird place to be.
Let's get into the trade, but not necessarily the trade itself, but the bits we've gotten since then, which is we have gotten comments from both Chauncy Billups and Joe Cronin. We will address Chauncy Billups first. Sean Hyken has it. Chauncy Billups on the trade with the Clippers. For us, it really comes down to Joe and I having talks and conversations about what an NBA championship contending roster looks like and trying to find a way to get our roster to that point. When you hear that, Brandon, what do you think?
I think it's a tear down and a build back up. You know, it's replacing drywall. It's going to be bare. It's not going to look great for about a week, but once the drywall gets in there, you nail it right back up and it's a part of the house. Like it's everything we've talked about them needing to do, right? They can't say certain things. You can't say the words tank. You can't say the words purposely losing. You can't use those phrases and words. So it's like, we know what they're doing. And I think that's their way of dancing around admitting what they're doing, that they are stripping the parts of this thing, but they're keeping the engine. And, you know, they have a good clutch in place with Anthony Simons, but everything else is getting rebuilt right now.
That's the kind of thing. There's 45 replies to this. And I was talking back and forth with Sean earlier, and I was like, I sent out a quote tweet on this one. He's like, yeah, I saw that. But it was like, everybody is so locked in on the one thing that Chauncy says there of like, and trying to find a way to get a roster to that point. He did not say we got the roster to that point. They are trying to get there to that point. That is him saying, just think critically for a second. That is them saying, we're making moves. We are not done making moves.
Danny, Chauncy admitted this like 2 weeks into the season that the roster
we're undersized every time we go out there.
As soon as Neil got in trouble, he started like speaking pretty honestly and forthright, right? He came out and said what you just mentioned, that we're really undersized every night. He talked about how this roster wasn't perfect. People pulled a clip of him on ESPN talking about what this team needed to do back when he was an analyst.
He was at ESPN and he said unequivocally the Dame and CJ backcourt needed to be broken up multiple times.
And so to watch him go to that press conference and act like he knew that roster was going to be good, he knew, right? And
that's the face you put on.
And I'll give him this. I still don't know if he's a good coach. I have no clue. I can't say he's a bad coach. I won't say he's a good coach yet. What I will say is I like the approach of addressing and being honest about what you need. And he has never been shy about that, right? It's about roster construction. It's about filling holes. I loved like the explanation we got today. I can't remember if it was him or Joe, but I love the idea that you have other positions that you need to be paying, that you need to fill. And so, yes, trading Norm Powell is not ideal, but it's kind of necessary if you want this team to get into a contending spot with Damian Lillard.
The way that I've described this so far is Joe Cronin is not going to fix in 6 days what Neil O'Shea fucked up in 9 years.
No, but I'm really surprised how people have like canceled Joe Cronin in terms of like, this is it. This was the move, and he effed it up. Like, it's not a good trade. I don't want to rehash this too much because we talked about this in the pregame, and I thought it was a really good, fun conversation. But it's one trade, and hey, spoiler alert: if he could have got Jeremy Grant from Norm Powell, pretty sure Joe Cronin would have done that. So maybe it's an indication that the market wasn't quite what we thought. We talked about this with Cub. People thought until the minute Cub was traded
that he was somehow going to get a first back.
He was going to go get a first. And then, like, even before that, earlier this season, people thought, oh, we get 2 firsts back and break even. That's ridiculous.
It's never going to happen.
It was never going to happen. Neil overpaid, just like he did with everything else. And you know what? It bit you. Joe Cronin did not make today a great trade. I'm not pretending that. But Joe Cronin made the first step towards making multiple trades, which is something that this organization has largely punted on with key guys of their core for 6 years. So let's wait 6 days.
I had multiple NBA folks text me that they were surprised that the Blazers got off Norman Powell's deal that easily. And I was surprised that was said.
Which is shocking because CJ's deal is worse than that. So that makes me nervous.
So again, I think there's a spot in between there, but multiple front office folks did not think that Norm's contract was that great, particularly the back end 2 years. And again, a 5-year deal for a guy who's not a star is a lot. That is a big deal. I saw something in here I wanted to recognize real quick because it's always cool when we get this kind of stuff. Where is it at? Where's that? Sandman, greetings from Germany at 7 in the morning. The first thing I do is get a coffee and watching Danny and Brandon. Thank you, man. Really appreciate that. I love
Shout out over there in
I
Germany.
love it when we get some international flavor.
Yes.
We've had, I think Sandman's chimed in before. We've had some folks in from Korea, some in from Japan, some
That's
obviously
awesome.
in from England and Australia. We love all you guys and all the different time zones
do.
you're in. That's very, very cool. All right, real quick, let's hit on Joe Cronin, Ben Gulliver. Shout out BG, was able to get the exclusive. Blazer MGM.
BG got it.
Joe Cronin on his trade with the Clippers. Why make the trade? In quotes, cap flexibility, the opportunity to clean our books up a little and just create more opportunities for this coming week and beyond through the draft and free agency. This is why I keep saying August 1st, August 1st, August 1st, August 1st. If this team does not look drastically different then it's time to really, really worry. I'm giving him a full cycle, basically, to fix the big issues. I'm not asking him to, change every single thing, but the roof needs to be fixed. The foundation needs to be fixed. I understand that some walls need some paint. Like, we can deal with that down the road, but the foundation going forward needs to be solid.
Yeah, I mean, don't blame me and don't blame people though if they trade just Nurk and the deadline's over and CJ's still here and people are like legitimately angry.
Listen, I get it, and I will say the same thing. I get it, but until we get into next season after free agency, and remember, let's go back here real quick.
Free agency doesn't exist for this franchise, though.
No,
like free agency exists in the trade.
Exactly, the trade market. And so here's the thing. Remember when Joe first took over and they had that impromptu discussion? It wasn't a press conference. Our books are really good. They look really good for the next couple of years. The first thing he says, cap flexibility, the opportunity to clean our books up a little. In other words, he was trying to be nice and say his former boss wasn't bad at his job.
His former boss was probably watching that press conference. So, like, why be a jerk and throw him under the bus? He had just gone through it.
There's no need.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the kind of guy who would, but
be the bigger person, right? Yeah. Like, he worked with him for a decade. And he's probably like, he's gone. I'm not going to trash him.
No. And then don't need to do it publicly. But he just countered exactly that.
I was going to say, he just went public with his opinions on Neil O'Shea's
most people aren't going to draw those parallels between then and now.
I don't know. Some people were hitting me up today on Twitter like, hey, that's the first move, huh? That player. Interesting.
Interesting that his first thing he did was undo his last 2 deals. So,
good observation.
Next question, as it pertains to me. Does this trade reflect the fact that Anthony Simons is a core piece going forward? A core piece, definitely. We wanted to create a runway here for him. You don't create a runway by turning it into a 6-man, ladies and gentlemen.
No, he's going to be the 2 guard next year.
He will be your 2 guard.
I'm admittedly still nervous about that, but I'm excited to see it. As long as you can. What?
Give me the change.
I mean, just make sure the other parts of that roster are drastically different. Mm-hmm. I am willing to tell you that I've gone back and forth on this opinion. My last one was probably don't want it. You can't sell me on it. I think if you can get the right 3 in place, and Ann is kind of like a borderline 2, maybe still a 3rd for options, you can probably talk me into it. It's not anti-Ann. Mm-hmm. Trust me, it's not. I love Anthony Simons. He's been the best part of the season.
You'd better, damn it.
It's honestly, it's more just like it's being scarred for 7 years. But I can also tell you, like, just because Ant is now the 2 and he's an inch and a half taller than CJ, some people are going to say that doesn't matter. It's irrelevant to me, the same thing. Well, maybe he plays differently than CJ McCollum and it will fit differently around Dame and whatever else they have.
That's the key. Next question here. Was it hard to trade established veteran and Norman Powell given your desire to build a winner? Joe's response, obviously a very good player, had some really good moments with us. He'll be missed. It's just having to move that money to other positions. That's what the motivation was. Roster balance.
No, he basically just said, no, it wasn't hard to move him.
Was it hard to move the fourth most productive guard I have on the team? No. No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. It was an opportunity.
It is not shade at Norm at all. I love Norm. I love his mentality. I wish him nothing but the best, and I wish they would have gotten a better return for him. But, was it hard to trade a guy who had been here 6 months and had a 5-year deal, and you couldn't maximize because the guy before you built a horrible roster construction around him? No, it was not. Sorry.
By the way, shout out BG. He got the money quotes from
Came into town for one night and got the exclusive.
No shade at any media member, but our boy BG came back in town.
BG's got that gas.
To visit his mom.
He's got that gas.
Yes, he is.
I guess it's a good time to point out Ben is going to come on the show after the All-Star break. So,
oh, that's fantastic.
Yes. So for those that don't know, Ben and I go back literally 25 years. We went to high school together. I've known him for a long, long time. We will have a lot of stuff to talk about, particularly after the All-Star break, once everything is kind of settled in and we kind of know what the plan is, at least for the rest of the season, and what it looks like going into the off season. So,
well, and for other people who don't know, me and Ben go back 26 years. So
Is it the beginnings of Coach Sprague?
We met in middle school. Then he went to Beaverton High, and we grew apart a little bit, but we always.
It happens. It happens.
He still writes me once in a while.
He does, because he's a wonderful human.
He is a wonderful.
Human. I think we're gonna kind of wrap it up here, just because there's a lot more to kind of go through, and I think we're gonna get more information and more things are gonna happen in the next couple days. And I don't want to sit here and hammer and belabor these points.
Plus, we got the Sunday mailbag show.
Yes, and that is a great point. This is a good time to point out. Get your questions in for the mailbag. You can email them, jackramsays@gmail.com. You can send them to me at Danny Marang, at Brandon Sprague. I will put a post up probably tomorrow before the game, maybe late in the night after the game. I'll figure it out. But you can reply to that, or you can DM them. Just know that if you DM them to me right now, there is a chance that I will not see them. My DMs are a disaster. I appreciate all the questions I've gotten today. I still probably have another 100 to go through. It has been a busy day. I will try to get back to you. Just know that right now, DMing me questions is not the best way to get a hold of me or get me to answer something. I might cursory go through and grab it, but otherwise, the best thing to do is reply to that question. So on Twitter. Until then, again, remember, no pre or post game. No pre or post game tomorrow. There will be a watch party. Brandon will be there. He will be there hanging out. It'll be ready to go, all set up. I will attempt to get somebody else in there to come hang out. One of the Bucks guys that also works for Blue Wire. I'm hoping we can get them in there. Until then, otherwise, thank you all so very much. We crossed 2,500 subs. Thank you to all the new folks. We appreciate you. That is awesome. Like, we skyrocketed. We caught back up after being down for December with the COVID-ness. So thank you for helping us get on back on track. Remember, we're trying to get to 4,000 by the end of the season. That is the goal. We love you. We appreciate you. We couldn't do this without you. Haas says, get a Discord, Danny. I do have a Discord. I have put it on the back burner. I just haven't had time with my hip. That has been the biggest problem. When I'm not working my day job after the surgery, one of the things I have on the list is to get the Discord up and running and get some mods in there to kind of help things go and keep the community a little more active there. So that is happening. If you search for Jack Ramsays in Discord, you will find it. So, and I believe I have it set to open right now, so you guys can get in there. So until then, we will catch you guys for the. Actually, we won't catch you guys. We will get your questions on the Mailbag Show on Sunday. We will catch you guys. I believe is that Monday. I got to look at the schedule because I know they play a ton of games coming up.
Monday. I think it's Monday.
No, Magic. Magic is Tuesday.
Okay. Tuesday.
I had a marker on my phone, but it's a doctor's appointment to get ready for my surgery. So
the mailbag will come out Monday morning.
Mailbag, and then we'll talk to you guys on Tuesday. Yeah. So we'll have a couple days off. So get your questions in. Again, at Danny Marang, at Brandon Sprague, at Jack Ramsays, or jackramsays@gmail.com. Until then, Excuse me. Take care. Have a wonderful night.